Success gravitates to those who make decisions quickly and firmly, while failure waits in the shadows of delay, hesitation, and endless procrastination. This truth, timeless and tested, echoes in the words of every man who has ever achieved greatness, and none have spoken it with more conviction than Napoleon Hill, who taught the world that the fitness of decision is not just a habit, it is the cornerstone of achievement, the silent force that turns thoughts into reality, dreams into destiny, and vague ambitions into concrete empires. For the man who waits for perfect timing, perfect conditions, and perfect clarity is the man who will spend his life watching others pass him by, achieving what he only dared to imagine, and let this be known with certainty. Indecision is the silent killer of dreams, a parasite of the mind that drains ambition, dilutes purpose, and delays the very actions that would give life to your desires. And in the fierce battleground of life, where opportunities flash by like lightning in the storm, only the bold, the certain, the quick to decide, and quicker to act claim the spoils of victory, because life does not wait for the hesitant, fate does not pause for the uncertain, and success bows only to those who seize the moment without looking back, who trust their vision even when the path ahead is foggy, for it is not clarity that leads to decision, it is decision that creates clarity, and you must understand that the most successful people in history did not rise because of perfect conditions or flawless timing, but because they made decisions when others stood still, because they acted when others hesitated, because they believed in themselves enough to risk failure in the name of forward motion. And even when they failed forward, learning, adjusting, growing, deciding again, moving again, never waiting, never stalling, never allowing fear to turn into paralysis, because every moment spent in indecision is a moment lost, a moment that could have changed everything, a moment that could have opened doors, forged partnerships, started empires, changed lives. And don't you dare tell yourself that you need more time, that you need to think longer, that you must wait for the perfect plan, because that perfect plan is a myth, a lie dressed as logic, and while you're waiting, someone else is building, creating, achieving, living the life you only dream about. And understand this: delay is fear disguised as reason. Hesitation is self-doubt hiding behind excuses, and when you delay, you surrender your power to the unknown, to circumstances, to other people's opinions. But when you decide, truly decide, you reclaim your power, you plant your flag in the soil of progress. And the universe begins to move with you, resources align, people appear, and the path that was once dark begins to light up with every step you take. Not because it was always clear, but because you had the courage to walk it anyway. And in that walk, you find your strength, your purpose, your greatness. For greatness does not wait. It is seized, owned, earned by the man or woman who says, "I will," and backs it up with action, relentless, unapologetic, decisive action. And if you look around at your life and wonder why you're not where you want to be, ask yourself, how many opportunities did I let slip away? How many times did I talk myself out of what I wanted? How many times did I say later when I should have said now? How many dreams did I bury in the graveyard of hesitation? And let that sting, let it burn. Because only when you confront that pain can you rise above it. Only when you face your indecision can you defeat it. And you must defeat it, because if you don't, it will defeat you slowly, silently, until one day you look back on a life that could have been so much, and you realize you didn't fail because you weren't smart enough, talented enough, or connected enough. You failed because you waited, and waited, and waited, and life passed you by. But not anymore. Not today, because today you reclaim your birthright to decide, to move, to act with boldness, to make decisions not based on fear but on vision, to stop second-guessing yourself and start trusting the power within you, the same power that built civilizations, cured diseases, invented miracles, and shaped the world. It lives in you, but it awakens only when you And hear me now. Success is not an accident. It is not given to the lucky. It is earned by the deliberate, the focused, the decisive. Those who refuse to wait for permission, who refuse to let fear dictate their pace, who refuse to be prisoners of what if, and instead live in the power of what now, because your future is not waiting for you to figure it all out. It's waiting for you to start, to choose, to declare who you are and what you want with such conviction that even the mountains move. And when you become that person, when you make decisions not out of fear but out of faith in yourself, you will begin to notice the world around you change, because the world responds to boldness, to clarity, to motion. And so I say to you, stop delaying, stop hesitating, stop overthinking your way into mediocrity, and start deciding your way into greatness. For the man who delays may survive, but the man who decides will thrive. And if you truly want to live a life of abundance, of purpose, of impact, you must become the master of decision, the ruler of your own momentum, the warrior who strikes when others shrink, who acts when others analyze, who moves when others mope, because that is where your power lies, not in waiting but in moving, not in planning forever but in acting now, not in hesitation but in decision. And when you embrace this, when you live this, you will become unstoppable, not because the path is easy, but because you have decided you will not stop, and there is no force more powerful than a made-up mind. So make up yours now, and make it boldly, because greatness belongs to the decisive, and your time is not tomorrow, it's now. Because the made-up mind, once ignited by purpose and backed by bold decisions, becomes a magnet for miracles. For the moment you decide, truly decide, with every fiber of your being, the universe shifts in your favor. Not because the world owes you anything, but because you finally stop doubting, delaying, and deferring your power to circumstances, and stepped into the mindset of ownership, and that mindset changes everything. Because when you move with decisiveness, you don't just influence your own path, you inspire others. You awaken the dormant dreamers around you who've been watching, waiting for someone to go first, to show that it's possible, and that someone is you, but only if you choose to lead. And leadership starts with decision, not title, not status, not applause, decision, the ability to say, this is the direction, and then walk it with or without support, with or without guarantees. And if you fall forward. And if you get rejected, you redirect. And if you lose, you learn. But you keep deciding, you keep choosing forward over fear, action over anxiety, motion over mediocrity. Because there is no power in postponement, no destiny in delay, no victory in vagueness. Only the slow decay of your potential. And I tell you now, the clock is ticking not against you, but for you, urging you, pushing you, reminding you that your time is now, that hesitation is expensive and regret is a debt that compounds over time, draining the soul of all that could have been. And when you reach the end of your days, you won't cry for what you tried. You'll cry for what you never did, for the steps you didn't take, the risks you refused, the doors you never opened because you stood outside, wondering if you were ready. And let me tell you the truth. No one is ever ready. Readiness is a lie sold to the passive, but the decisive know that readiness is forged in fire, shaped through motion, revealed by doing, and the more you decide, the stronger you become. Because decision is a muscle, and every time you use it, you sharpen your clarity, strengthen your resolve, and deepen your belief. And belief, my friend, is the foundation of all success. Not belief in luck or fate or chance, but belief in yourself. Belief that what you want is already yours if you're willing to walk through the discomfort, the unknown storm that tests all warriors before they reach the summit. Because every legend, every icon, every world changer walked through that storm, and not one of them got there by waiting. They got there by deciding when others wavered, by acting when others hesitated, by choosing to move while others stood still. And you must be that person, not just once, but over and over, every day, with every choice. Because your life is not shaped by what you wish for. It is shaped by what you decide to pursue relentlessly. And the beauty of decision is that it doesn't require perfection. It just requires courage. And if you can be courageous for just one moment, if you can silence the doubts and the fears and the voices that tell you to wait and just move even a little, even one step, You break the spell of inaction, and in that break, in that tiny burst of bravery, your future begins, because the future does not belong to the one who dreams. It belongs to the one who decides, and that is your gift, your superpower, your divine tool, the ability to decide right now, to live fully, to love boldly, to work fiercely, to never again let hesitation steal what's already meant for you. And in this moment you must draw a line in the sand and say, no more delay, no more excuses, no more telling myself that someday will magically arrive, because someday is not a date on the calendar, it is a decision, and I make that decision today, here, now, to rise, to act, to become. Because nothing will change until I change, and nothing will move until I move, and nothing will happen until I make it happen. And that truth is not a burden, it is freedom, because it means you don't have to wait for anything outside of you, and in a world full of noise, chaos, and confusion, your decision cuts through the fog like a sword, clear and sharp, declaring to the world, I am not here to wander, I am here to win, not at the cost of others, but at the height of my own potential, not to compete, but to create, not to fit in, but to stand out, and I know that standing out is risky, but so is staying stuck, and if I must risk, I choose to risk forward, because I would rather fail chasing the life I want, than succeed living the one I settled for. And this is your moment to choose, to draw that line and step over it, to say no to indecision and yes to greatness, to stop postponing your purpose and start living it, one decision at a time, because you were not born to hesitate, you were born to lead, to build, to change, to grow, and the first act of growth is always the same. Decide. So decide now. Decide who you are, what you stand for, where you're going, and then go with everything you've got, with fire in your heart and steel in your soul, and when fear tries to slow you down, you remind it, I do not fear failure, I fear standing still, and I will no longer be a victim of indecision, because delay is defeat, and today I choose victory. Victory over fear, over doubt, over hesitation, victory over the small version of me that kept me safe but stuck, and now I rise, now I move, now I decide, because my destiny is too great to wait, my purpose is too powerful to pause, and my future is too important to forfeit to fear, and so I choose now, I move now, I act now, and I never look back, because I was not made to delay, I was made to decide, and in that decision, my greatness begins.